A continent is a very large continuous landmass, commonly grouped by geography and culture. A country is a political territory with recognized borders and a government. A nation-state is a state whose population largely shares a common national identity. A capital city is the administrative center where a country's main government institutions are located. A border is a boundary that separates two political territories. Latitude is the angular distance north or south of the equator, measured in degrees. Longitude is the angular distance east or west of the prime meridian, measured in degrees. A hemisphere is half of the Earth, such as the northern hemisphere or western hemisphere. The equator is the line of 0 degrees latitude that divides Earth into the northern and southern hemispheres. The prime meridian is the line of 0 degrees longitude used as the reference for east and west. The Tropic of Cancer is the line of latitude where the sun can be directly overhead in the northern hemisphere. The Tropic of Capricorn is the line of latitude where the sun can be directly overhead in the southern hemisphere. The Arctic Circle is a latitude line marking the southern limit of polar day and polar night in the north. The Antarctic Circle is a latitude line marking the northern limit of polar day and polar night in the south. A time zone is a region that uses the same standard time. UTC is the time standard used as the global reference for clocks and time zones. The International Date Line is an imaginary line where the calendar date changes by 1 day. A map projection is a method for representing the curved Earth on a flat map. Map scale shows the relationship between distance on a map and actual distance on the ground. A map legend explains the symbols and colors used on a map. A compass rose is a symbol on a map that shows directions such as north and south. Topography is the detailed shape and features of the land surface. Elevation is the height of a location above sea level. Relief is the difference in elevation between the highest and lowest points in an area. A plateau is a high, relatively flat area of land. A plain is a broad, flat, or gently rolling area of land. A basin is a low area where water and sediments collect, often surrounded by higher land. A delta is land formed at a river mouth by deposited sediments. An estuary is a river mouth where fresh water mixes with seawater under tidal influence. A watershed is the area of land where all water drains to the same river system. A tributary is a smaller river that flows into a larger river. A strait is a narrow waterway connecting two larger bodies of water. An isthmus is a narrow strip of land connecting two larger land areas. A peninsula is land surrounded by water on most sides but connected to the mainland. An archipelago is a chain or group of islands. A fjord is a long, narrow sea inlet with steep sides, carved by glaciers. A coral reef is a marine ecosystem built by corals, often in warm, shallow seas. A monsoon is a seasonal wind system that brings wet and dry seasons to many regions. Trade winds are steady winds that blow toward the equator in the tropics. The jet stream is a fast, narrow band of high-altitude winds that influences weather patterns. An ocean current is a large-scale movement of seawater driven by wind, Earth's rotation, and density differences. El Niño is a periodic warming of the central and eastern tropical Pacific that can disrupt global weather. La Niña is a periodic cooling of the central and eastern tropical Pacific that can shift global weather patterns. A climate zone is a broad region classified by long-term patterns of temperature and precipitation. A biome is a large ecological region defined by climate and typical vegetation and wildlife. Desertification is the process by which fertile land becomes more desert-like, often due to drought and human activity. Deforestation is the large-scale removal of forests, reducing tree cover and altering ecosystems. Urbanization is the growth of the share of people living in cities and the expansion of urban areas. A megacity is a city with a population of over 10 million people. Population density is the number of people living per unit area, such as per square kilometer. Migration is the movement of people from one place to another to live temporarily or permanently. A refugee is a person forced to flee their country due to conflict, persecution, or disaster. GDP is the total value of goods and services produced within a country in a given period. HDI is an index that summarizes human development using health, education, and income indicators. Globalization is the increasing interconnection of economies, cultures, and people across the world. Cultural diffusion is the spread of cultural traits such as language, food, or technology from one society to another. A lingua franca is a common language used for communication between groups with different native languages. Colonialism is the control of one territory by another power, often through settlement and exploitation. Sovereignty is a state's supreme authority to govern itself without external control. An exclusive economic zone, EEZ, is a sea area where a coastal state has special rights to exploit marine resources.